I caught my stepbrother watching one of those adult movies back when I used to live at home. I opened the door to his bedroom and he was like, doing something really fast with his hand that I couldn't see. But I looked over his shoulder at the computer and I saw a guy and a girl doing something that I can't really mention right here. This ended up being one of the things that like really cemented in my mind that I was into guys. See, he didn't hear me open the door at first, so I just kind of stood there watching over his shoulder at what was going on the screen, and I wasn't really paying attention to the girl. I was very much more curious about what the guy was doing and what he looked like. I also happened to be curious about what my stepbrother was doing and what that looked like. And this only lasted a few seconds before I started messing with my stepbrother like I like to do, and I was like, hey, what are you doing? And he was like shocked, right? So he turns around and like gets super pissed and is like yelling at me to get out of the room. Now, I've never seen him get that mad before, so I just walked out of the room. Like, I was afraid he was gonna beat me up or something like that, so I literally just turned around and walked out. A few minutes later, he came out and he started talking to me. And I was like, so yeah, like, what was that? And he was like, he's still kind of upset. And he was like kind of defensive. But then he started to explain to me what it was that he was watching. And he was like, don't you watch stuff like that? And I said no. And he said, would you want to watch something like that? And I was like, yeah, like I definitely want to check that out. Like, show me. Both of our parents were gone at the time. So he said that I could just come to his room and we would watch together. So we go in there, we both sit down in front of his computer and we start watching this movie. And I was not expecting, like I said, I'd never seen anything like that before. I already had a suspicion that I was into guys, but like seeing a guy do that at full attention confirmed everything, because it made me go to full attention right away, just like it did with him. I know that because I also glanced over at my stepbrother and noticed that he was pitching quite the tent. And this time watching, neither of us did anything. Like we weren't gonna start, making ourselves feel good by using our hands right in front of each other. So we just stood there and watched. And we watched for quite some time, and we were like chatting about how hot the girl was and like, everything about her physically and all this stuff. And I'm just going along with it, like acting like, yeah, like I find that really attractive too. But it was actually really confusing for me because I didn't really find that interesting at all. I was very much just interested in the guy and what was happening over there with my stepbrother. So we chatted about things like that a few more times, and most of the time we were just kind of quietly watching. And after the video ended, he put on another video, and I was like even more into that guy and like, at full attention the entire time. And I'm hunched over so that you can't really tell. Like if he were to glance over, I don't think he would have noticed that I was at full attention. But he just wasn't even shy at all. He's just like sitting back wearing like loose shorts, just full attention, super obvious. Which was also confusing to me because one, I mean, yeah, we're not blood related, but it's my stepbrother. Like I was like, why is this exciting to me? Like all of it made no sense. Like my parents were pretty open about it being cool to be attracted to the same sex, but still I had those societal pressures taught to me that like that was wrong. Like I thought something was wrong with me. I thought it was not okay. It wasn't until way later that I learned that that's completely normal and completely okay. In fact, I'm pretty sure if you Google it now, I think it's like 1 in 5 men, like especially in Gen Z, are at least partially attracted to the same sex. And that's data from just those who like admit it. I mean, it's gotta be a lot higher than that if you really stop and think about it, right? But anyways, we're watching this movie and I'm checking out what's going on over there, and I'm really wanting to reach down and make myself feel good or reach over and grab what's happening over there, and I'm just like fighting all these urges to actually do that. And our parents were coming home soon, so we had to stop watching. So that time we didn't do anything. Like nothing was taken out, no missions were accomplished, no touching happened or anything like that. But it wasn't the only time that him and I ended up watching stuff like that together. So if you want to hear more about this, hit follow for the next part. And also, I'm curious what you think about the whole it being my stepbrother thing, even though we're not like blood related. What do you think about that? Because to this date, I'm still kind of flustered and like nervous to even talk about this online.